So I posted a couple of days ago about morning time maps and planning for them. And I got a couple of people asking questions like, what is this? How do you plan for this? So I'm going to try and keep it really quick and share with you guys how we come up with like the beautiful stuff of our homeschool. Because we do reading, we do math, textbook kind of stuff. But the morning time maps are just kind of more fun and delight focused because we're definitely an eclectic homeschool style, a little bit of classical, a little bit of Charlotte Mason, a little bit of textbook, kind of just all smashed together, which is fine because that's the beauty of homeschool. You do what works for your family. So the morning time map, let me see if I can share this with you, is just a way to really do family school together, to focus in on things we can all learn as a family. So this is kind of what it looks like. So we focus on some science, we have some poetry, we have some math memorization, plus we do skip counting. We do a lot of skip counting. So skip counting, and then this kind of equivalent measurements we do. This is a liturgy, like the prayer we just start our day with. Who we focus on arts. This is the first 6 weeks we're going to focus on a psalm. So we'll see how that goes. And then also geography. So these are kind of just like the things that we start our day with because we can all do it together. And it just sets the tone for a really relaxed, delightful day of learning. And now where I get all the information from, again, it's just like a hodgepodge of stuff. So for geography, with a couple of their moms and their kids, we're going through the trick geography right now. And so we're just working on memorizing the states in America. So that's why there's a blank United States on their map. So we can just review whatever region of North America we're learning about at the time. So that's one resource we use. For history, typically we do Story of the World. We're taking a break from that right now and we're doing Gather Round. About like Western expansion in the Civil War. But when that ends, we're going to go back to Story of the World and just the plain old history notebook. For science, a lot of times we use these books. She has like a farm anatomy, nature anatomy, ocean anatomy, and they just have like really beautiful pictures in them. Okay. And they have a whole bird section. So since we're studying birds, that's what we're going to look at. We're going to find birds, anatomy of a bird, different types of birds. Also with science, so we use that as like our textbook, I guess. But also with science, we use the Handbook of Nature Study. We love it. It's a little overwhelming. So if you know what you're going to study, you can kind of find that section in the handbook. And then I just flag the pages that has the questions I want to focus on. So I just find the section, so like for bluebirds, and I put orange stars next to the questions we want to ask. So we'll do like 1 or 2 questions a week where we'll just observe, we'll talk, and we'll write it in our science notebook. That's it. That's all we do. Observe, ask the question, talk about the answer, write it or draw it in our science notebook. And so now we get the idea for where we want to do like science and art from Ambleside Online. So if you go to Ambleside Online, they have like curriculum, and you can click science, what it says for this fall semester for 22-23. What you should do for composer study, what you should do for artist study for the fall of 22-23. So I just follow that because then I don't have to think about what we're learning about. I can focus on resources. So for science, it's just birds because that's what Ambleside Online said to do. For music, we're doing Mahler, which is super exciting because Ambleside said to do Mahler. So that's what we're doing. We're doing Mahler. So usually we just like find a quick video that tells us about the composer, and then we'll pick like 3 pieces of music from that composer that we listen to for the 6 weeks. That way it becomes really familiar to them, and it kind of gets ingrained in their head of, oh, this is what this composer sounds like. This is what the modern era of music kind of sounds like. And the same thing for the artist. So we're going to do Van Gogh. So we have Simply Charlotte Mason as these artist study packs. So we have the one on Van Gogh where we learn about the artist. And then each week of the 6-week period, we just look at a picture, talk about it. Next day, look at the same picture, talk about it. Next day, look at the same picture, talk about it. just so they can really start to understand the artist's style and really focus in on the details and pay attention and really just know and observe qualities of that artist. So this is a Simply Charlotte Mason resource. Ambleside also has picture packets. You just have to print them out. These are a little bit easier. And then for poetry, we have these books. We also have one more by Shel Silverstein, Silly Poems. But so I just pick a poem that seems to go along with what we're talking about for those 6 weeks, and we do it. So my boys will be able to pick this 6 weeks if they want to memorize a wise old owl or happy thoughts. Wise old owl, because we are learning about owls and birds. Happy thought, because our family is kind of struggling with being content and being happy. So a poem on happy thoughts will be helpful. And then this is not on the morning time mat, but this is for Eli. I just pick a nursery rhyme to focus on for 6 weeks, and he ends up memorizing it. So he's done Jack Be Nimble, Jack Be Quick. He's done Ring Around the Rosie, and this 6 weeks we're going to do Humpty Dumpty. So just that way he's not left out, and nursery rhymes are just so good for rhyming, for language patterns, working on those memorization skills. And so we don't want to leave Eli out. And so he gets to do a little bit of morning time with us, and he'll kind of flow in and out as we do it. But that's what we focus on for 6 weeks, the good, the fun stuff. And so I'll laminate this, and each kid will have their own. And sometimes we'll do calendar. So I leave a space here for them to like put the date and tally marks, or say if it's odd or even, or come up with a way to make that number. Or if we do any of our math logic books, they'll work it out here before we talk about it as a family. But that's it. So every 6 weeks, I make one of these. It's super simple. It really takes me like 10 minutes to plan, 15 minutes. It's not very complicated. But I've learned my children are not very complicated, artsy, craftsy people. They really just like the basics. And they like to dive deep into whatever we're learning about. So that's why 6 weeks kind of tends to work out really well for us, because we can dive deep into the science topic, dive deep into composers and artists, dive deep into geography and memorizing the poems, and not have to rush through it so much, and just to sit and enjoy each other. So if you have any other questions about our morning time mats, you can feel free to ask me. I know people sell these online, but I never like everything they put in their morning time mat. Theirs are a lot cuter, but I like being able to make ours so it can go with what Ambleside says and what I feel like God wants us to study as a family for a year. But so yeah, that's it. Super simple. If you're interested in trying morning time mats with your family and you want me to send you my template, it's not very fancy. It's just a PowerPoint, but I would be happy to send you the template if you want it. So just let me know. And yeah, I hope it inspires you to just kind of think outside the box and get creative with your homeschool and your kids this year.